Hello, I'm Debbie Roy from Derry Community Television. I'm very lucky to have a co-host today. Suzanne is with me today. We're going to be talking about a new charter school here in Derry. It's the Granite State Arts Academy, and I have a guest that's going to tell us a little bit more about that and what people can expect for the area. So welcome, Dr. Michelle Fox. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited. It seems like this is a great opportunity for the area to have a new charter school that specializes in arts. So let's kind of dig right in. Can you tell me, what is the difference between a charter school and a traditional high school?
A charter school has its own independent board of trustees, first of all. Doesn't come under a board of education in a regular traditional school district. There's a little more leeway for experimentation and innovative teaching and learning because of that. Additionally, charter schools are only funded at 40% of what a traditional public school would receive. And due to that, there's fundraising that goes on continuously to try to make up for that loss of funds.
All right. So then it's up to the charter school to kind of raise the other 60%. Does that fall on the students or the parents, or is it all the school?
Everybody. The community. Yeah. Yes, the school community.
And the 40% funded, is that from the state or from the town?
That's from the state, and from what I've learned, the other 60% goes back to the school the children would have been going to.
Okay, so it's a little bit tougher, but like you said, you kind of get to specialize in more area and more gear it towards your kids. So I see that you guys specialize, and it's an arts academy. So what does that mean? What kind of programs are you offering there?
Well, with 21st century teaching and learning, creativity and innovation are number one. And with an arts background, you learn the flexibility and the adaptability to be able to change quickly and adapt to new surroundings, new challenges. And the arts teach you that on an ongoing basis. So what our vision emphasizes is taking the arts and integrating them into the academics, but then on the other side, taking the academics and integrating them into the arts too. So a student may be studying dance or music, but they're also reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And that's part of the Common Core standards. So we want to integrate those skills in every class because this is going to be very important for the future for these students.
So if you're artistically inclined, you're kind of learning in your own environment, so it's actually you're learning better because you're not kind of stuck in a history class and bored or not really absorbing it because it's not really interacting. Sounds like yours is a little bit more interactive.
Yes, I mean, arts, culture, society, they're all interwoven throughout history. And if you have people who are passionate about the arts teaching, you're going to have a more integrated curriculum where students become excited about learning. Because if students can follow their passion, they're motivated to put in the time, the work, and the learning.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about why you chose Derry and what area are you serving?
Okay, I think Derry was suggested by the Department of Education. Originally, Wendy Lewick, who is the founder of the school, wanted the school located on the seacoast, but the Department of Education felt that there was a need in Derry for such a school. So instead of going to seacoast, we're in Derry.
Actually, it kind of makes sense. There's already a lot of arts in the Portsmouth and Seacoast area, and we're kind of lacking in southern New Hampshire, because I know it's been a long, long time, but when I went to school, it was really hard to find art classes in high school if you were artistically inclined, and then by the time you got them, you're like too far ahead. You didn't really get what you needed for college. So I think it's wonderful to have such a program to be offered for people in southern New Hampshire. What area do you serve? So you're located physically in Derry, but what towns are you serving?
We can serve the entire state of New Hampshire, but the vicinity is within Derry, Atkinson, Salem, but we're even having children from Manchester apply. So it's a wide area. It depends on whether or not the parent wants the child to travel that far. In other states that I've worked in New Jersey and Florida, there's something called magnet schools. And you might have a magnet school for the performing arts or performing and visual arts. You don't have that here in New Hampshire. So this is a special opportunity for kids who really want to follow their passion.
No, I think that's wonderful. Let's talk a little bit about your curriculum. What are the areas of concentration that you're covering?
Well, we're covering the Common Core standards.
Which is state mandated, right?
Right.
So you have to fall under some state
Oh yes,
requirements.
there are standards. I mean, they're very broad in their approach and easily to put into this type of setting. So we have English and history and science and math and PE and the arts.
Yeah, so all the typical stuff. But then you have specialized things for the Arts Academy. So what are there specific areas of study that you're offering there?
Yeah, all four, music, theater, dance, and visual arts. And the way we do this is by extending the school day to 4:15, and the children will have 2 hours to go in-depth study into their passion.
So is most of the day based on, is the core academics and then the arts are incorporated towards the end of the day?
Well, they're going to be incorporated also into the academics during the day. So for instance, a 9th grader would take their academics in the morning. They would have lunch and do their foreign language at the change of the day around noon. And then in the afternoon, they would study the art that they're passionate about.
And they get to do that from, this is a high school, so you're taking grades from 9 to 12, correct?
Correct.
So from the entry, from freshman year, they get to be immersed in the arts? Because again, that was my experience, even, you know, again, many, many years ago, but I think it's still true today. If you're interested in art, most students don't get art classes until they're a junior or a senior.
I know.
And then it's so limited about what they can actually take. I mean, my portfolio for college came from a summer class that I took. I didn't get anything through the high school. So from the very beginning, if they have a concentration in music or dance or visual arts, they get to do that from the very beginning?
Yes, the very beginning.
And all the way through?
And all the way through. The arts are no different than science or math in the intensive study you have to have for a good 10 years to really become an artist. And so we're giving students a chance to experiment, try. You might want to be interested in another art once you get there. Experiment, find out where your true passion is. That way you also save money when you go to college, if you decide to go to college, because you might think, I want to major in music, and then you find out what's involved and you go, no, 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 I think I'll go to theater.
So you've already done some of the experimentation that you don't normally get a chance to do.
Correct.
Now, Suzanne has a lot of great experience. She has some boys that are already in high school, so she has a great parent angle on this. And so from a parent's angle, what would a parent expect if they wanted to enroll a child in your school?
Well, they would expect, well, they have to go through the application process. There is an interview with both the student and the parent to make sure that what we're offering is what they're looking for. And then after they're enrolled, we get the parents actively involved with the school, and we've had great response from parents. They come from diverse backgrounds, have all kinds of skills that they can incorporate within the school. And then the parent would be told about our advisories, which are small groups of students sitting with an adult talking about challenges that they're facing and how do you set goals, how do you problem solve. In addition, it's very important that the students have a voice in the problems that face the school. So we're going to have student government, and we're going to actually listen to solutions that the students come up with. Along with that, there'll be portfolio reviews, also presentations by the students to the parents with demonstrations on this is what we're doing in class, this is how we do it, let us show you. A lot of public speaking activities. So we're trying to develop leaders for the future, and that's quite an involved project, but we're very passionate about it and do have a course to follow.
So it sounds very interactive throughout the entire year for parents and students and community. And
right.
So do the students need to have any experience in the arts before the application process? Is that part of it? Do they have to have a portfolio review or a dance review to apply to the school?
It's a good question. We're a public school, so as long as the student is passionate about the arts, And we inform them that this is not going to be easier. This is probably going to be harder. But because you're passionate about visual arts, you will feel like you're doing something that you really want to do. But it's not going to be easier. There'll be more work involved.
Well, you said this day ends at 4:15. What time do they start?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So already, you know, you've incorporated a longer school day.
Yes,
for
definitely.
those students.
Now on Friday there is an early dismissal at 1:50, and this gives the teachers time for professional development and working together and coordinating different lessons they want to teach.
How many students are going to be in the school?
Well, at our maximum, and we won't be there for a while, 160.
160, so
Yep.
40
per
per
grade.
grade. And so average class size, if you've got a freshman class of 40,
It'd be 20
maybe
and
10 are
20.
interested in the music, 10 are interested in dance.
But the grades are going to be mixed up. I mean, you're not going to
Okay.
have a 9th grade dance class. You're going to have a 9th through 12th grade dance class, because everybody works at their own level in the
Right.
arts, and then they work collaboratively too. So the arts don't see age as a factor
Right.
to divide people.
Right.
Work together.
I think that is great. So sometimes the older or more experienced artists can mentor some of those
and
that
vice versa. Yeah.
give some new ideas.
Well, what I mean is sometimes you'll have a 9th grader who comes in, and I've seen quite a few of them, that have extensive experience in theater and music, and they come in and they can assist maybe a junior or senior who's never done this before.
Yeah, well, and then, you know, you're talking about creativity, and it's always nice to have a fresh perspective, fresh faces that maybe aren't really immersed in it that can bring, you know, new life to something. So I think that's very interesting. So it's a very community environment, even in the school. You know, they kind of go through everything together throughout the years. Okay.
So the average class size is probably going to be maybe 10,
Oh, you mean at full capacity? 20.
20.
Yep.
So very individualized learning.
It is, but yet it's collaborative too, because one of your 21st century skills is for people to learn to work together,
Right.
to listen to each other. I mean, if you look at any of the software companies, you'll see that's what they practice. That's what we want to practice. And a lot of times students will be given an assignment as a project, and then some of the kids do it, some of them don't. There's a leader who does all the work. That won't be happening here.
Oh, I used to hate group projects because I was the one that did the work.
All the work, right. Well, that won't be happening here because they're going to be taught how to listen to each other, how to connect with what someone across the table is saying, how to give their ideas and build on it, because 4 minds are better than 1.
Right, so these are life skills
Yes.
that you are going to be teaching them
Definitely.
that I think everyone could use some listening skills.
Some leading skills. So I know in our pre-talks you kind of described it as an entrepreneurial school environment. Is that what you're talking about, where each student kind of gets to be the leader and the follower and give presentations?
Definitely, and constantly changing so that they know all the different roles, so that when they go out in the work world, they're prepared with these skills. Also, if they go to college, knowing how to set goals, how to study, how to give yourself enough time, not to be out all night partying, I have to get up in the morning, I have to do such and such. You'll find that kids who work in the profession of the theater especially know how to organize their times. Also, you have 16 to 18-year-olds dancing professionally. They only have so many hours for homework and study, but they do it because they're passionate about what they're doing.
Yeah, and especially in the creative fields, you have to be very self-motivated.
Yes.
Because, you know, depending on which concentration you have, there's not a lot of full-time jobs for creative, you know, again, depending on where you are. I'm a visual artist, so there's not a lot of full-time jobs for visual artists. So you kind of have to be self-motivated to keep up with your artwork and technology. Which brings us to another question.
Oh, well, I was wondering if there are some technology classes.
Yeah, the technology will be used for foreign languages.
Oh, okay.
We're doing that on VLAX. They have an excellent program.
Oh, they do. I'm very familiar with
Yeah, they have
VLAX.
French, Spanish, Chinese, and Latin.
They even have gym.
Yes, they do.
If you want to take gym
Yes, they do.
online, so how do you, I mean, that will satisfy, that is a state requirement for gym.
Yes, there's
so
a
I'm
year
sure
of
you'll have
PE.
to incorporate that.
Well, Where the school is located is in Brookstone Park.
Okay.
It's a beautiful setting. There are grounds outside where the kids can go out and play, shoot hoops. We have a putting range.
Cool.
We have a 9-hole golf course. I mean, my hope is maybe we'll have a golf team. And so
that would be nice.
yeah, and we're also going to have an outdoor classroom where when you have warm weather, a teacher can take their class out there and then in a beautiful setting have class.
It is a nice area.
Plain air, plain air.
Also, the dancers and the actors are taking dance and movement. I mean, that's a very physical activity.
But that will not count as their phys ed requirement
I
by the
have
state.
to look into that because you can do it. I just have to go up and check with the Department of Ed to find out about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more frustrating than to be performing professionally like that, where your physical exercise is hours a day, and then you're being required to take a gym class.
Yes, yeah. And the energy and exertion it takes to dance is far above most phys ed classes.
Oh, yeah. Give me an example, or you talked about collaborative projects. Give me an example of a project that maybe the students would work together on.
Well, for instance, you might have an English class that is studying the immigration process. How were the artists involved with that? They came over, say, in the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s and brought their art with them.
A lot of research.
Yes, a lot of research. And if they go to college, they're going to have to do this. And the research studies in general are great for any citizen so that when they hear something, they can actually go and research it and say, wait a minute, I have a problem with this statement. So getting kids to think. So you might act out a play that you wrote and someone would direct it, produce it, film it. I mean,
and that was a question in technology. Do you have camera classes or web design classes? Do you have any of those sort of?
We don't have them right now. Now, I understand that if we wanted to produce a program that we could use equipment.
Yeah, you want them to come on down here?
Yeah, I mean, the kids are very excited of such an idea. But, I mean, we can't do everything in the first year.
No.
Right.
So with visual art, we're talking about photography. Drawing skills are very important. Painting, color theory, and then we'll get to the computerized software and graphic arts. But we're not going to be able to do everything the first year.
Yeah. Do you have any goals laid out, like a 5-year plan about where you want to go, or are you just going to let it evolve organically?
There was a 5-year plan put together. In 5 years, we would like to be at full capacity. We would like to add different subjects into what we already have in place. But you know, in this type of situation, you have to be flexible and adaptable, like any artist is, and change with the needs of the students. The needs of the students are first, and so that's what we consider first.
Yeah. Plus, every year, you're not going to know how many students are interested in dance or theater or art until they actually show up at your doorstep.
That's true.
And I was wondering if the students are able to, if they come in as music and then decide they want to go into theater, is there going to be leeway to have a lot of cross-discipline in the classes?
Definitely, because if we don't, we're not serving the needs of students, and they come first.
Yeah. Well, that all sounds wonderful.
So it sounds like that you are gearing, you have the goal for some of them to go off to college. Is that the ultimate goal, or maybe to start their own business for some of them?
Interesting you should ask. Our ultimate goal is to create thinkers and doers. If they want to go to college, they will be prepared. If they want to go into the professional business and the arts, they'll be prepared. If they want to go and explore before they do anything else, at least they'll have the thinking skills to think through different alternatives.
Yeah.
Well, Deb and I both have had our own businesses, both come from the graphic design background, and both agree that taking a business class would be good for any art student.
Yeah.
Definitely, because there are too
Will you
many
offer
artists out
something-
there that don't know how to manage.
How to
Well, they
manage,
didn't teach you how to be an artist, and they taught you, how to be an artist, but not how to survive as an artist.
Right, and we
So,
just feel that that's so key.
Well, I think it's important that we let students explore the different technical areas, like you said, business areas. For instance, in our music room, we have a recording studio. And this is a chance for kids to learn how recording is done, actually do their own recording, and know how to manipulate the equipment. With dance, you would look into all the different types of jobs that are available. I mean, you look at dancers who've left the profession, they become customers, they become photographers, writers, they go back to school, they become scientists. So you have to make kids aware of that. It's not just one thing, I'm going to dance or I'm going to paint, but how can I take these skills that I learned in the arts and transfer them to other areas? So you're preparing a child for life.
Yeah. Because a lot of times you have your art, but you also have to do something else. In most cases, not always, but usually you have to supplement your passion with something that's going to make you a little bit more money.
Will you be offering any summer camps or programs for students outside of the class?
Yes, that's great you questioned me about that. Yes.
Sounds like a fun place to go.
Yes, we want to go.
Maybe not even for high school students. I mean, maybe it would be open for middle school students.
We have a summer program that's being organized at this minute. And if you go to www.granitestateartsacademy.org, I'm sorry, it's .com.
Okay.
You will see about our summer programs, and we are contracting with different arts teachers to come in and teach for the summer.
Well, that was going to be my question. Are you going to, I know you're located in Derry, but are you going to go to maybe a theater, do some field trips, or have some professionals come in?
Well, the teachers we're hiring are professionals, but we will have guest artists. I think that's really important for students to be able to question and discuss with practicing artists, what is it like out there? Yeah, so we will be doing that. We will be doing field trips. We also want to take the kids to different colleges so they can get on the campus and see what's involved, and that, yeah, you can major in theater and this is what it's like, and get them to talk to different college representatives.
So great.
What is your background for starting an art school?
Okay.
Because I think if our viewers know that you've got some credentials, you've got the experience, it's not just a group of Derry citizens that decided, oh, let's just have an art school in town. That would be really cool. So I think...
this is my 5th program. I started out in the 70s in Miami while I was going to the University of Miami getting my music degree. I started the PAVAC dance program. Now, this was a ballet program, and the reason it was located at the High School of Performing Arts was to integrate the school. I was there for 4 years, had a PAVAC dance company. I left to come up here to study with a music teacher, and that program eventually ended up in downtown Miami, which is now the New World School of the Arts, which is known nationwide. Wow. So started out the ballet program there. When I came up here after being up north in New Jersey, I started a community theater program called Techniques Theater. We won awards for 7 years in a row, and it was the integration of bringing together both adults and teenagers, and we had some young people too, depending on what the show was, and getting them to work together and produce. We produced 28 musicals and plays. After that, I worked for the Department of Education and set up a summer dance program at Rutgers University and an art program at Keene University. And then I went to Fort Lee Public Schools in Fort Lee, New Jersey, 2 blocks from the George Washington Bridge, and I started a small school within a large high school called the Academy of Performing Arts, and it was the 3 areas of the performing arts. So a lot of what I learned in Fort Lee about best practices, what works, what doesn't, I have brought up here to New Hampshire, and was thrilled to find somewhere where I could put my research and my past experience into action.
It sounds perfect.
Yeah, you sound like a great
definitely have the credentials to do this.
Thank you for sharing that with us. What is your role at the charter school?
My title is director, but I'm acting as a principal.
Okay. So given that your success record, parents can kind of feel at ease that this isn't going to just go away after the first year. You sound very determined and very skilled in actually making this grow to fruition.
Well, my background is in music, theater, and dance. 10 years as an administrator, working in curriculum, instruction, and forming new programs. So I have over 35 years of experience, starting back in the 70s with PAVAT.
Wow.
Sounds wonderful.
No, it does, and I think you're going to be a great asset to
the
Granite State Arts Academy. Now, you have open enrollment now.
Yes.
I think you just had an open house last month.
Yes.
Are you having another open house before the school opens?
Yes, we will sometime this summer. We haven't set the date yet, but yes, we will.
Okay. And I think you told me you already have a certain number of students. You're looking for 40. How many spaces do you have available right now?
Well, we're doing grades 9 through 12, and I would say we are 2/3 of the way through the freshman class, about 30% through the sophomore, and the juniors and seniors, you know, are sparse because a lot of kids want to graduate from their high school.
Yeah.
But we have some who come in and say, no, this is what I want to do. So I say, okay, you're in the right spot.
Yes, and I think you're in the right spot too. Open enrollment. So if someone wanted to find out more, or find out about the open house, or just go maybe do a tour or talk to you, what's the best way to contact you?
The best way to do it is to go to www.granitestateartsacademy.com. You'll find information there about application and the interview process and the phone number, and then you can give us a call and be more than happy to show you around the school.
And you're having open enrollment basically until you start. And when do you start?
We start August 28th, the same as the Derry schools. We are accepting applications until we reach 40 for the grade level. So once we do that, then we have to cut it off.
So how is word getting out about this school?
Well, I'm here with you today.
No, this is wonderful. I mean, there's just such a pool of students here in Derry. I mean, you know how large Pinkerton Academy is and how it is serving other towns, but there's such a large pool of students here.
Yeah.
How are they hearing about these opportunities?
Well, we've had news articles in the papers. I have gone to different theater programs and talked to the directors to get the word out. The kids are beginning to communicate with each
that's
other.
Probably your best effort.
Yes. Putting up flyers, talking to people. I find that most of our recruits are through word of mouth. Yeah. And we're always looking for new and inventive ways to get the word out.
Right.
Yep.
You also, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, mentioned students attending the school. The opportunity for parents to get involved?
Definitely, yeah.
And in which ways? By volunteering at a bake sale, or are you talking more integral into?
Yes, more involved than that. But I mean, bake sales are good.
They are. They do raise a lot of money.
Yeah. So we're not against that either. Everybody has special skills,
and
talents. As we talk to the parents, we find out what they are. We've had people come in, volunteer their services for helping us with technology. For helping us put down the dance floor, which will be done in another day or two, for helping us paint. We had the kids in the hallway with rollers painting. And when you have that school community collaborative
it's a
work,
sense of ownership and working together.
And respect for the building and for each other.
And to have parents involved at that level, then the children feel that there's support, encouragement.
And this is home.
Makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Because high school is tough for some kids to get through. It really, really is hard, especially when the academic level sometimes is challenging for the students. So to have a parent working beside you on a volunteer project, or to know that you've got that support.
You know, for some kids, a traditional large school works for them.
I was going to say, some students thrive in a big, chaotic environment.
Is very large.
And they have wonderful courses and facilities. But for the child who does not function in a large system, this is a small school with personal attention, and we're not going to let anybody fail. We're not going to let them do that. Failure is not an option here because it's very small and we can keep tabs on everybody.
Peer support and
Yeah.
teacher support and,
Yeah.
and community support. So who would be your ideal student?
Well, number one, and the only requirement, you have to be passionate about the arts. And you can tell when you speak to students whether they're passionate or not. And
I guess that's if they've been exposed to the arts.
I would say everybody's had a taste of it because
I think if you want to be
Have
an
a
artist, you
little
know
bit.
from a young age, whether
Yes.
it's
The
dancing or drawing,
Right.
you know deep down inside that you want to be in the creative arts.
well, I've sat down with a number of kids, and you can see the twinkle in their eye, and
Wow,
just
I
the
can
way
do
they say,
this, or there's an opportunity.
yeah, this is wonderful. I want to do this. So that's what we look for. Yeah. If they're having problems academically, we speak to them about it. We're going to have to address it and support them. We've had students with IEPs, 504s. So it's the same as any other school.
Okay.
You have a diverse community.
Yep. Will you offer clubs and organizations outside?
As we go along. Yeah,
You mentioned the golf team,
I would love
which
to
is
have a
great.
golf team.
Yeah, and they do compete at the high school level, so I'm
Yes.
sure there would be.
Golf is a wonderful game because you're competing against yourself. For instance, chess is a wonderful club to have. The concentration skills that
Right.
are involved. Martial arts is excellent for teaching you discipline. I mean, I used to fence, and I think fencing is wonderful. But we're going to have to take one step at a time and
like
see.
a choir or
Oh, well, that will
concert band.
definitely
Those
be
will-
part of it.
Those will automatically just come
Because
together.
of the music department, yes. Yeah.
I can see you offering community-wide opportunities of entertainment.
Yes.
Concerts or
Yeah.
maybe performing at McGregor Park during the summer.
We can look into
You know,
that.
different activities like that where you're getting a little bit more integrated into the community, and just doing that will get the word out, and people will see the difference you're making in those children's lives.
Yeah, and some people have contacted us about perhaps coming in after the school day and using classrooms or the dance studio, the music studio to teach additional classes. So that's something we're interested
great.
in
Workshops.
talking to people about. Because when a school is dormant with no one in it, you're losing that opportunity to give something back to the community.
Yeah. Now, we talked a little bit about the difference between a charter school and a high school and a traditional high school. Is there anything else that a parent or a student should know about your school that sets you apart, or you have or you don't have?
Well, some things we will not have because we don't have the funding for certain things. We will not have a large staff. It will be a small staff, but a staff that works together and is committed to the vision. I mean, if you're looking for a small school environment where your child will be able to study their passion, get support when they start slipping in anything, and know all the other kids in the school and the teachers and the parents too, then this is the place for you.
And definitely sounds like there'll be accountability for the students with such a small school.
Yes, definitely. Like I
so
said, we're not going to
there's no
allow our
slipping through the
students to
cracks.
fail. No, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to add, Suzanne?
I don't think so. I've been trying to think, what else? What haven't we covered? But
And let's reiterate, this is where are you located again?
Okay, we're located at 16 Route 111 in Brookstone Park. We're building number 4, and that's Derry, New Hampshire.
And you're available to pretty much anyone in New Hampshire
Yes.
who has students who want to be immersed in the arts.
so I'm going to jump in because I have another question. I
Okay.
know you
No, that's fine. We're recapping.
Well, I thought of it before, but if a student wants to come from Manchester to school or from Candia, what about transportation? Is it required of the parents to drive them back and forth? Because that may be a real issue
Yes.
for scheduling.
Yes. We will have pickup hubs where the student can get transportation, but it depends on how many students are in that location. We encourage carpooling. And this is, you know, something that we don't have that traditional schools have, where you are guaranteed transportation if you live a certain amount of distance away from the school. We will have hubs, though, and it depends on how many students that we end up with before we open.
Right. And it will be Monday through Friday, the school will be.
Yep.
One more question. If a student is very creative, wants to do creative, but what if they want to do a sport too? Are there any opportunities for any sports at the school?
Well, the sports will depend on who we have, and they would be within the school. So if it's a student who might be looking for competitive sports against other schools, chances are they're not going to be able to do that, because you won't be done until 4:15, and then you've probably already missed
Practice.
Yes. So that's something that students and parents have to
think
weigh.
about.
Yep. Just weigh the pros and cons.
Yes.
But I just figured I would ask, because there are some people that have more than one passion.
That's very true.
You know. Is there anything that we missed that you'd like to add?
Well, we think we're a very special school. We think we offer something that no other school around offers. We would love to meet you, talk to you. So it's just as simple as making a phone call or going online on our website and contacting us. We'd be more than happy to speak to you.
Okay. And that website again is granitestateartsacademy.com.
Correct.
Okay, we'll have that up as a lower third. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you for helping us get the word out.
And you're welcome to come back once you get up and started. You guys can come back and do a regular show. We would love to have you.
We should do a little field trip.
Field trip.
And tour some
That'd
of
be
your
wonderful.
facilities and see, because a studio for the arts, the visual arts is going to be a lot different than maybe one for the
Definitely.
theater, and so you'll have some real interesting rooms and activities going on, and to see the students engaged, you know, in their passion. It would be
Well, that would be
wonderful.
great. We'll have the dance studio up by the end of June. I mean, it's a professional dance studio, so students are safe on the floor when they land and spin and jump. The music studio, like I said, also contains a recording area.
You mentioned.
Yes. The visual art room is a huge room where the door, which is a garage door, can be lifted and let all the light in. And students can go outside and draw or come inside. The theater is I would say it's a typical black box type theater with a thrust stage and then a horseshoe type structure with chairs for the audience to sit in.
Sounds like fun.
Sounds wonderful. I wish
We're ready to go back.
Yeah, we want to
Do it over again.
I wish there was something like that
if we
when we
could
were
only.
going to school, because it would have been a great asset. I think that's going to be a great asset to the children in the area who really do have a creative background or want to pursue arts, because it is hard to find otherwise in a traditional school. Some schools offer more than others, but can be very hard to find something like that.
Well, another thing that makes this different is that the people on staff understand the importance of the arts and of a high quality arts program. And for some students, it might be the difference between them finishing high school and not finishing high school.
Yeah.
And so we feel we have a very important mission.
And you said the people on staff are practicing artists and people who are actually experience this in the real world to bring
Definitely.
real world experience to the students, which I think is invaluable.
Well, just sharing their lessons and experiences.
Because it's not, you know, it's great to think
Yeah.
about something in theory, but actually to do it is something that you can't get any other way.
They're going to be mentors in addition to teachers, I think.
I mean, just a theater student learning about the realities of auditioning and learning about rejection and how everything is like this. And saying, okay, out, next. And in a typical high school when they have auditions, it's, oh, hi, how are you? What are you going to sing? It's not like that professionally. And they need to know those realities, because for many people, rejection, continuous rejection, is very difficult to handle. So they need to know that.
Yeah. And they can also foster their skills and learn what they really are good at, not what they think they're good at, but really hone those skills in and find the right fit for them.
True. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we've covered just about everything. At the end, we'll kind of recap where you're located, how to get a hold of you. You will be having another open house before you open?
Yes, probably in July.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't set a date yet. We've had a number of them, so we will have one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, we welcome you to Derry. We're glad that you chose Derry. I think you're going to be a wonderful asset to the community. It sounds like you're going to be a jewel, a gem in the community, because it's going to be very involved for the students, the parents, and the entire community. So thank you so much for coming on, telling us about the Granite State Arts Academy.
You will
Good
need
luck.
it.
I don't think you'll need it. I think there's a need.
don't.
I think you're feeling a need.
I don't. I think there are students out there.
Okay.
Well, we're very excited about it, and we're going to work very hard to produce a high-quality school.
Okay. So again, I'm Debbie Roy and Suzanne Bernier Robinson from Derry Community Television. Thank you for staying tuned in. If you'd like to learn more about the Granite State Arts Academy Charter High School, just stay tuned for the information at the end of this show. Have a great day.